Hey, Nicole Roberts Jones here, and welcome to this episode of the Meaningful Work Podcast. A time I connect with you to give you all the tools you need to align your career with God's highest and best version of who He or she created you to be. Listen, today is part three in a series called Navigating Career Transitions. Now, let me say this to you out of the gate. Y'all already know me. Those of you that are, loyal podcast listeners, you know what I'm getting ready to say. I need you to go listen to part one and two because this is where I'm going to give you the tools to navigate your transition. But you cannot navigate successfully if you haven't done part one or part two. So, with that, quick review. Part one, we talked about defeating status quo. And I wonder if you realize that your comfort zone is killing your dreams, your goals, your desires, it's killing it. It's suffocating it. It's keeping you in mediocre and in good enough. I think I said this the first episode. Listen, I'm allergic to average. So I'm always trying to up level, which causes me to have to grow and stretch who I be. I'm calling you into that same journey with me. You are not alone. Then part two, we talked about eliminating what's holding you back. Now, I've given you work in those two episodes so that you can begin to look at where you are in your journey. That work is in your Power in Your Pivot playbook. You go to powerinyourpivot.com to get it. So today we'll of course I'll have a part three. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the reason I had you do those two parts is I wonder if you realize how you limit your ambitions because you are conforming to what the world, what your family, what everybody else says you should do or be, instead of transforming into the new version of you that's waiting to be released. And so that's really what I talked about in the first two. So here's where I want to start. Kind of talked about her, ended with her, my favorite girl, Esther, in part two. Let me just bring up this Bible verse real quick. Esther 4:16. When Mordecai says to her, go gather all the Jews who are present and fast for me. Listen, I skipped that word because I'm probably going to say it wrong. Those of you that are watching, this is Esther 4:16. By the way, if you're listening, I'm always have slides when I do my episodes. So nrjnetwork.com is where you can go onto my YouTube channel to see the slides that I'm walking you through. So Esther 4:16, go gather all the Jews who are present and fast for me, neither eat nor drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will fast likewise, and so I will go to the king, which is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. The reason I want you to see that is what I really want you to understand, in addition to Esther, used faith, GPS. I talked about this last one. I'm not going to go through that again as her guide. She also had strategy. I talked about this in the last episode. You need methodology and revelation. I cannot give you revelation. Revelation is only God given, but I can give you methodology. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before I walk you through that, I want to walk you through, by the way, today I'm going to give you the tools to navigate. Well, look at that. I spelled navigate wrong. Navigate, y'all know I know how to spell your career transition, right? So there are three things here to activate the strategy. So before we get to the strategy, there are three things you need to activate. That's, by the way, that's why I gave you part one, because I wanted to allow you the space to see where you might be limiting what is available to you. Let me say that one more time. I gave you this work in part one because listen, I remember my aunt said this to me years ago, and I say it all the time now. Don't limit God's ability to bless you. I also want to say, don't limit God's ability to use you. Don't limit your ability to go after that breathtaking future you deeply desire. So as we did the work in part one, if you did the work in your power in your pivot playbook, tongue twister, I want you to dig deeper into what you didn't see and didn't say that you really, really want. Like, dare I say, if I'm gonna tell you what one of the desires that I know is drumming up in me is to be on TV. Now, I don't know what that's gonna look like. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna let God deal with that. And I don't mean be on TV like a movie actress or anything like that. I just feel like I don't know what that's about, that somehow my TV and film career is gonna come full circle. Don't know how that's gonna happen, but God does. Does that mean I'm gonna produce? I don't know. But guess what? I'm not trying to figure it out. But I also am not gonna limit God's ability to bless me. So, with that said, I'm going to walk you through three things you got to activate before I walk through strategy. And yes, I'm going to walk you through how to create your strategy in this episode. So, hang tight. I'm still going to try to be done in 30 minutes. So, number one, it's going to take risk. See, taking risks allow you to meet the next level of you. You can't play it safe. I remember, and I think I may have said this the last episode, the greatest lesson I've learned is that I had to risk it all to gain it all. And the reason it's a risk is because you don't know if it's going to happen. The thing I've learned, even when I've had moments of failure, I've learned great lessons, grown from that place, and then retried, and it worked the second time. Listen, there's a Bible verse here, Proverbs 10:4, that says, again, Proverbs 10:4, he who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. So if you want to be lazy, you don't want to push yourself. See, God has abundantly above all waiting for you, but you've got to do the work to go and get it. Again, Mordecai said to Esther in Esther 4:14, for if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. In other words, listen, God has asked you to do it, but you don't do it. He'll find somebody else that will. But you and your father's house will perish. And who knows but that you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. See, I believe what Mordecai was saying to her is that maybe you became queen because God wanted to use you. And if you don't do it, he's not going to wait for you. He'll go find somebody else. And in the meantime, you will die because then all your business will be found out, Esther. See, taking risk is necessary for growth. If you're going to expand past where you are, listen, if you really listen to the Bible verse, God says, I will do abundantly above all you can ask or think. That's Ephesians 3:20, by the way. Again, let me say it one more time. I will do abundantly above all you can ask or think. I say this all the time. If it's bigger than what you can think of, what you can fathom, what you've seen, then yeah, it's going to be scary and it's going to take you a risk to say yes to it. So I need you to understand that taking risks allows you to get to your next version of you, right? So then number two is you must do it afraid. When I think of, well, let me just say it like this. Hebrews 11:1. Hebrews 11:1, one of my another of my foundational favorite Bible verses is faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If you can't see it, that means you can't fathom it. That means you don't see how it's possible. If you can see it, it's easy to believe it. But faith is believing when you can't see it. One of my favorite books, and I forgot to bring it in here in the studio with me, is Do It Afraid by Joyce Myers. Now, I got the first version. The first version is like a little pamphlet. Now she has a full on book. But in that book, she talks about people like Moses. When he got to the Red Sea and God said, take this stick. Now, that's what I imagine that. If God said, Nicole, take this stick and put it in the Red Sea and it's going to part, and all the Egyptian soldiers that are following you will get engulfed in the sea, but you'll be able to cross it. I'll be like, Lord, you sure you want me to do that? You sure you don't want to call somebody else? Moses had to do it afraid. What if he put the stick in the Red Sea and it didn't part? What if Noah built the ark and the ark didn't even work? What if Oprah started her network? And by the way, she did start her network and it failed the first year, but she didn't give up. She had to do it afraid. I think so many of us want things to be nice and easy. And when you're going to your next level, it's not going to be nice or easy. Okay. This is kind of me reviewing from the last time, but not really. Give you other things to ponder and think about before I walk you through strategy. And then number three, your faith produces ambition. Now, I talked to you about this, that ambition is not condemned. Nowhere in the Bible does God condemn ambition. And your faith produces that ambition. It makes that ambition able to happen. So as you look at those three things, again, taking risks, doing it afraid, and how your faith produces ambition, or I should even say allowing your faith to produce ambition. I want you to get that what Esther's story taught us from last episode, and I'm adding more to this one, is that she had a game plan. That she had to do it afraid. She had to rely on God. She had to lean on her faith fully and completely. And she had to do it afraid. And I'm gonna tell you, every time you do something in faith and something works out, it produces more faith. So In the spirit of me talking about Esther having a game plan is why I called the worksheets you're doing in this series a playbook. Think about what a playbook is for a football team. Think about what a football team does after each game. What is the coach doing? The coach has the team go back and watch its plays to look at how they can improve, expand, how they can grow. And many times we don't take the time to sit with our goals and really create the plays that are needed to go after the next level of you. Well, that's exactly what I'm encouraging you to do as I begin to walk you through the 4 steps you've got to take to create strategy. And by the way, I'm going to go into them in much more detail in your playbook. I asked you some other questions too. This playbook is longer. This part 3 is longer than the other 2 parts. Why? Because there's so much you've got to do to get to your next level. So much you've got to do. Got a piece of hair hanging somewhere in my eye. Anyway, so with that said, so funny, you guys that are listening to audio are like, what is she talking about? I got a piece of hair in my eye. Anyway, okay, so let me walk you through the 4 steps to create your pivot strategy. And again, this is in your playbook. You can go grab it at powerinyourpivot.com. Matter of fact, you might want to go put me on pause. Hello. Put me on pause. Go over to powerinyourpivot.com, grab your playbook and download it. And really what I'm going to walk you through are the plays that start on page 5. You got a lot in this one. Okay. So these are on starting on page 5. All right. So with that, let's get this party started and talk about your plays. So play number 1 you've got to do is define your goals. What do you want to achieve? I think so many people don't stop long enough to really write out what do you really, really want. That's why Habakkuk 2:1 says, write the vision and make it plain on tablets. You got to write it out. You can't just keep it in your head and dream about it and think about it. You got to write it out and then do the work to be about it. So when you write your goals, you want to write SMART goals. You want them to be specific, not general. I want to lose weight. No, I want to lose 10 pounds by March. Actually, I wanted to use 15 by April, and I did. Yay! Right? Measurable. How do you measure if you're moving toward the goal? So if I just say I want to lose weight, that's so general. I can't measure that. But if I say I want to lose, and I did say this by the way, in January I was 15 pounds overweight, keeping it real, right? And I said to myself, okay, I'm hiring this new trainer by April. I want to be 15 pounds down. And guess what? As I'm taping this episode, I'm already 15 pounds down. And I want you guys to get this. I can measure that. I could measure every month, every week, and I did. Matter of fact, if I was in my office and I showed you my calendar, I put my pounds that I lost every week on my calendar. There were some weeks that I gained 1 back or gained 2 back because I had a good weekend. 'Cause I love to eat. But the point is, I can measure. And then when I saw that I was going backwards, I could do something to go forward. Y'all get this? Achievable. Is it achievable to lose 15 pounds? Now, it's not achievable for me to lose 15 pounds in a month. Not healthy, not even in a week. It's got to be relevant and realistic. And then give yourself time. Okay. So, again, I use health as an example. I'm in the middle of a huge career shift right now. And so I know the exact role. I know the exact way I'm going after it. I know how I'm working toward achieving it. And I've given myself a deadline to get there. hmm I'm only sharing that with you because as I'm recording this, I'm in the middle of it. So I can't tell you where the end of it is. But listen, my goal is at play. So you've got to set smart goals. So maybe you've set some goals and you don't have them written out specifically, and they're not measurable. I want a new job. That's so vague. What specific new job do you want? What role is it? And what companies are in alignment with that? I want a raise. So have you gone to talk to HR? Be specific. You want how much? You want a 20% raise? You want a 3% raise? Is that realistic? The only way you can find if it's realistic is to go talk to somebody in HR. Do I need to keep going or am I making sense, y'all? Okay. So that's number 1. You've got to define your goals and you've got to define them as SMART goals. All right. Number 2 here is then I want you to conduct a SWOT analysis. And I'm going to tell you, as someone that is a change management consultant, I've gone into businesses and done SWOT analysis on businesses. And my clients, those that are with listening in, I always suggest that you do a SWOT analysis of you. So this is in your work playbook, by the way. This is what a SWOT analysis looks like. You want to look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. powerinyourpivot.com is where your playbook is, just a reminder. So you want to look at what are you good at? What are your strengths? What are your shortcomings? Those are your weaknesses. What external factors can you leverage? Those are opportunities. And what external factors could hinder your progress? Those are threats. So if I use my weight loss goal again, right? What am I good at? I'm good at if you give me methodology, if you give me a system, I will follow it. So I had to hire a new trainer. hmm What are my shortcomings? My shortcomings are that I love food. Oh, I love to eat. I love to eat. So instead of myself, listen, what I learned working with this trainer, instead of denying myself, I now know how to eat and what to eat. And by the way, I love a glass of wine too. So I know how to do those things and stay within the methodology that he gave me. What external factors can you leverage? My external factor that I leveraged was hiring a coach. And what external factors could hinder your progress? Listen, for me, I go to a lot of events. So I was talking to one of my girlfriends about this, and she might be watching this episode. So, girl, you're gonna know who you are. And I eat sometimes before I go to the event. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, the finger foods they're gonna have, I can't eat. So if I go there hungry, I mean, if I go there and I've already eaten, then I can have a glass of wine and I'm still good. And the reason I know this is because I did a SWOT analysis of my health. I did a SWOT analysis as I'm making a career shift. I wonder if you've done the same thing is set with your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats so that you're clear. And as you get clear on these things, you can do number three, you can develop your action plan. As you define your goals and you begin to do a SWOT analysis, understanding where you might need help, where you might need support, where you get clear on your goals and all the things in between, that's a place that you develop your plan from. And by the way, I walk you through how to develop your plan, right? So you've got to create clear strategy. The thing that I love about Esther's story is she said, listen, and this is her strategy. Y'all go pray. Y'all go pray for 3 days, and I'm going to do the same. Fast and pray. And then I'm going to go to the king and throw him a party. That was the beginning of her strategy. She looked, I bet you at her SWOT analysis. Let me put that back up here. I'm sure she did. Her strength was that she was obviously great at throwing parties. Her weaknesses are that she was a Jew and she had to really figure out how can I bring this to my husband. Her opportunity was inviting people to the party and leveraging the fun times and asking all her Jewish sisters and brothers to pray with her. What external factor could hinder her progress was Haman, who was trying to kill the Jews, or the fact that she was a Jew and that her husband, the king, might kill her because she's a Jew. So when you start to factor all those things in, you can begin to then make your action plan because you're looking at all the things that are coming into play in your environment. I think so many times we define goals, but we don't look at all the things that are happening around us that either help us create our goals or hinder us from them. By the way, that's why I had you do part one and part two, because I want you to also look at as you're writing your goals, some of the things that could hinder you, you wrote out in part one. So if you didn't do your work, go do your work. Some of the things that can hinder you are you. It's your mindset, but the mindset you have that is conforming you to the world's version of you is because people are saying things to you like, "Oh, you should," and so you believe it and take it in. And maybe that's not where you feel God is leading you to. You've got to be clear and uncompromising. hmm So then the next thing you really want to do is as you develop an action plan, begin to assign responsibilities. Maybe you need support in certain areas. So again, I use myself for an example. I needed that health coach. Even as I knew God was calling me to this more career development space, my opportunity was I went and got a certification. I went and got a career development certification. Why? Because I knew, even though I've been doing career development for 20 years, I got into this realm because one client asked me a question, and another one, then another one. Then I ended up, I'm a social worker by trade. I'm seeing how God has been opening doors for me. But I knew as I began to navigate and go into this new career development space that I know God is calling me to, I had to go get a certification. One, so that I can get in the door. And two, to make sure I knew all the methodology that was present, all the systems and assessments and all the things. And by the way, I did know them, but I got to learn them in a career development framework. What's the difference? Is when you're swimming in a new place, you want to make sure it's like if I go to Spain, I want to make sure that I speak their language. If I go to Paris, now I don't speak French, but I know enough that I can say bonjour, bonjour, très bien, merci, right? You want to be able to speak at least the language so you understand how to navigate in that new place. Y'all with me? So it's the same thing you got to do here as you begin to create develop your plan. And then last but not least, of course, you want to implement and evaluate. So listen, in a perfect world, as you're implementing your plan, everything's going to go great. But I'm going to tell you now, it's not. It's not. And so those are opportunities for you to learn. You got to take the risk. And when you take the risk, sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it's not going to work. And when it doesn't work, it doesn't mean you quit. It means you evaluate. So if I go back to using myself for an example, on my health eating journey, I'm laughing because there were weekends that I had no business eating stuff I was eating, right? Taking a risk. Like if I'm out myself, this past weekend I had pizza and I had my husband laughing. We were talking about this at bed the other night. On Saturday night, I had pizza. And pizza is not necessarily in my health plan, but I love a good slice of pizza. It was good too. And I said, "Ooh, that pizza was so good." I said, "Was it just me? Because I haven't had pizza in a while." But did I get a pound? I did not. Because I've been evaluating how I eat, and I now know what to do when I eat something bad. But I had to learn it. I had eaten bad things before that. I'm always gonna have moments because I told you I like to eat. And my failure in the previous moments helped me understand how to not let this pizza moment be a failure for me in my health journey. See, I believe that as you're being healthy, you shouldn't have to limit yourself on some of the good things, like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and all the good holidays. I'm gonna eat a good piece of pecan pie or something, but now I know how to navigate it because I've taken time to create not just a plan, but to understand how to work it and navigate it for me in the newness of menopause. For you, if you're navigating a career shift, you got to know that what you did yesterday is not going to work tomorrow. If you keep trying the same thing over and over and you're getting the same result, isn't that called insanity? Isn't that the definition of insanity? When you're doing something different, you've got to do something different. If you are trying to heighten your career, then what you did in your previous roles isn't always going to work. So, my invitation to you as you do your playbook for this episode is to really sit with the work, really sit in it. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's a lot. It is a lot. Take the time to develop the plays you need. Take the time to sit with where you are and where you feel God is calling you to. When you feel something coming up for you that is saying, "Oh, you can never do that," realize that's the comfort zone, the conformity trying to keep you where you are. That's like Eve and the serpent. She listened to the serpent. Don't listen to the serpent try to tell you lies. Try to keep you where you are, try to keep you in a place that will not elevate you into your next level. I believe if you listen to all three parts of this episode, it's because it's time for your next level in your career. Doesn't always mean a role shift. Sometimes it might mean that there's a project you want to produce or something new you want to bring to the table in your current career. Or maybe you're part of an organization and you want to run for leadership in the organization because you want to shift the trajectory of your organization. Whatever that is for you. I believe you're here because now is your time. So do the work. Don't take for granted, "Oh, I know this stuff already." No, you know it for where you are. I'm not talking about who you already are. I'm always talking about the version you have not yet become. Listen, I'm not working on the 2025 version of me as I'm recording this episode. I'm not. She's done. I'm working on the 2045 version of me. She has yet not to come, but I've got to be working on her and working toward her now. So what are you working toward? What do you what plans have you in place? What areas do you need to look at and strengthen? Where do you need support? Get clear and uncompromising. Stop limiting yourself. Stop holding yourself back from it and go and do it. Now is your time. I believe that now is your time. So, with that, that is our three-part career navigating career transitions series. Listen, first thing you know, I'm going to ask you share the value you got. Why do I always ask you this? Because listen, you guys, I'm not here for me. I am here for you. I'm here for you. And so it behooves me to know what value you got out of this episode. Number one. Number two, let me also say, listen, if you ever have questions or other topics that I can share, please send us an email, info@NicoleRobertsJones.com. Maybe there's things you're navigating in your career and you want me to do an episode on it. Please send us emails. Listen, this navigating career transitions about, I got so many questions about this. I can't even tell you how many. It's why this series happened. Mhm. As many of you are navigating your career transition. So, whatever it is, send us an email. Info@NicoleRobertsJones.com is where you email us. Again, info@NicoleRobertsJones.com. And just tell me the questions you have, what you want to hear me teach on in an episode around you finding meaningful work. And if it's not something I answer, then I'll bring a guest on to help you. All right. So, the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is to share. Share this with your network because, again, you never know who else in your tribe is navigating their own career transition, and your sharing this can bless their life. So I don't know if I said this, but I also want to hear from you how this episode has helped you. What's the one thing you're committed to doing to shift your own career to go after the next best version of you? So, with that said, I'm Nicole Roberts Jones. It's always my honor and privilege to coach and teach and pour into you. And I'll see you next time for another episode of the Meaningful Work Podcast. Bye, y'all.